exciting to chew. Baconfest, we're expecting you and love, Iowa bacon love.
Oh, yes.
Mom, Dad's being weird again.
Luscious.
Honey,
So full.
it's just grass.
Oh, it's so much more than just grass. It's a healthier, greener, and more luscious lawn. Yours can be too.
Look at you.
With 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗏 Lawn Care.
Remember, no shoes on the lawn. Because you're so beautiful.
Call or click today.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru, live and on demand across Iowa everywhere from the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by cellular advantage.
Murph and Andy on a Monday. Glad to have you with us. Keith Murphy, Andy Fales, Aiden Wyatt in for Andrew Downs, who is trying to get back from Mississippi on a Monday and running into some air travel snags. Andy, I'm glad you don't seem to have had that problem. Good to have you back. How's it going?
It's you know, it's good to be back. I didn't have any trouble. Air has got air. Was there a storm down there or something?
I'm not sure. It's Mississippi. I think anything could have happened.
Yeah, you know, there's always something, and you know, sometimes it's like there's no reason for it. We were sitting in Charlotte just waiting last night for like the space to park the plane to be cleared out, and that never really makes any sense because the airlines run such a tight ship. You're like, what? You didn't expect this plane of 200 people? You weren't ready for them, so they sit out, and you sit out on the tarmac, and then you know, you after a while they let everybody get up, so they go to the bathroom, and then they have to make everybody sit down again so they can just move the plane at 3 miles an hour.
Jenny was
there was
coming
a little
back
of
from
that,
Las
but-
Vegas, and coming back from Las Vegas, the TSA line Sunday was more than 2 hours. It actually went out the airport door. Now, Jenny uses pre-check or clear, so she went through in 5 minutes. But the TSA line took more than 2 hours. But that ends up mattering because there were more than 60 people going back to Des Moines, and they hadn't cleared security yet, so they just held the plane because they don't want to reschedule all those people that got stuck in that long, long line. And that line, as you know, when you walk by the Sunday morning line in Las Vegas, that's some of the most broken down looking people you've ever seen. I mean, they just look like they need to go back to bed.
Jenny went to Las Vegas this weekend?
She did.
Just solo?
Solo, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not she went to a bachelorette party. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, she went with some other people from.
yeah. She went with other people. She didn't
like
just go. Yeah, you know what? I need to get.
I need a break from you.
Yeah,
People should be allowed to do that. I mean, wives should be allowed to just take a vacation from their husbands.
Absolutely.
I get that.
It's good. It's good to have some alone time. Let's set the table. Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for sports and more here on a Murph and Andy Monday. Coming up, Belichick cringe, the Shador slide, and the Mel meltdown all ahead. It's Guest House Tavern, Northwest inspired, Midwestern hospitality. Right now, high or low since our last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Retirement planning and tax, local guys who can shoot you straight on how to get all of your books in order. Great call to make this year so you can figure out what's going on with all your retirement counts. You're probably a little scared about those right now, but also just kind of getting yourself a long-term plan. I'm going low today because it has been, I haven't had a vacation since September, and I'd forgotten what it's like to have the re-entry. Not totally forgotten. I mean, it's been that long, but I mean, you forget like all that you juggle in your life until you stop doing it for a while. Yeah, there we are. Okay, that's us getting ready to leave.
No, you guys look great.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, there's the Gulf of Mexico back there, and we are getting ready to leave and have that look on our face like, okay, this is the hard
Here
part.
we go.
Right. Yeah. So, but anyway, you get home, and you're just like, the kids have been healthy. My mother-in-law was great watching them, but we pull into the driveway, and our yard looks like something out of a 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗃 nightmare. It looks like a hayfield. I mean, it looks like a dandelion farm.
How does that happen in a few days?
Well, we've had rain and just those ideal growing conditions, and it's April, so this is the time of the year where the stuff just grows the fastest. But anyway, you can go ahead and take that down now, Aiden. You're making me sad. Yeah, see, I got to get back to reality. And then you get in, and you're like, oh my God, I've got so much stuff to catch up on. And you're like, how do I do all this stuff regular? How do I juggle all these balls? Because once you get into the juggling routine, it's very manageable.
And grandma has spoiled the kids.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. They were disappointed to see us.
Yeah, I do remember that. It's just like,
if you want to stay an extra day, Mom and Dad, it's fine. Yeah, that was fine. I think even the dogs were not all that excited to see us. So,
was it in 𝗀𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Nights? Was it grandma law or grandma rule? That wasn't what happened here. My mom was pretty strict with us as kids, but grandkids, they could negotiate anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But so you get in, and then you're just like, oh man, all right. So like you put all the balls down for a few days, and then you start trying to pick them up and juggle them again. You're like, oh man, how do I do all that? But I'll get through it. You need about 2 days to kind of get back on the horse and moving forward. But right now we got multiple suitcases just sitting there on the floor begging to be unpacked. And then you got to just go to the washing machine and just work the poor machines to death for 2 days straight. Get everything all folded and clean and put away. And then finally you're like, okay, back to normal. But I need a few days.
Suitcase is Bon Jovi's line about, I heard your suitcase say goodbye.
Is that the
worst line ever written in a song? I heard your suitcase say goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably the worst one.
It's right up there.
You can pick,
it's right up there.
Yeah. Any
all right,
Kiss song and
I'm going high. So I'm going to start on Friday night at 𝗀𝗎's with my son Cade, and we got to meet the Duke, Derek Duke from Bigger Than 12 here on Iowa Everywhere, and his wife Michelle, who is just wonderful.
He's bigger than everything.
Yeah, and this guy is like, well, he's about 6'8", 280 probably, just a huge guy, just a big dude, and what a fun guy. I would like to know, Aiden, have they done any research how many beers this guy put down on his weekend in Iowa? It's got to be
all of the beers,
at least 50. And
yeah, it's probably right around that.
And he's making that tall boy look like one of those little grapefruit juice cans.
Oh yeah, he's just a huge guy, but nice guy, fun guy. Even came back here with his Bigger Than 12 partner Jake Bren. We came back to the 1525 Lounge, and that was fun. The next day, beautiful day in Des Moines. Saturday, Drake Relay Saturday was wonderful. Up on a rooftop here, and in the middle there is Crazy Kelderman. On the right, Biff Hammer. This and Mike from Musco Lighting is also there. Notice I'm the only one wearing anything resembling color. They're all in black outfits here.
That's a motley crew you're with.
That is nuts. And then the sign is reserved for all WWF fans. So that was Saturday afternoon.
Very dated sign.
Yeah, would be an E now, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because now that's what World Wildlife
has been the World Wildlife Fund for years.
And they sued to have
sued years ago. It's been WWE for years. That's an old sign.
Old sign. And then Saturday night, Andy went to Peggy's. Went to Peggy, saw Mark, went with Mark Freund. It was good to reconnect with him. in Annie Baldwin in the Peggy's sweatshirt.
Yep.
One of the owners of Peggy's, and also the Irish, where we had our Iowa Everywhere party. And of course, Angela and Ed Wilson and their daughter Faith was serving beers there. And it is like Freund had never been to Peggy's on the Saturday night. He could not believe how many people were in and around the whole place. And then around midnight, Ed and I started to notice, oh man, we're the old guys in the club.
Yeah.
Because the alums had moved out. It was only
They'd gone to bed.
Young people. And then I Ubered home from there, even though, what is that, half mile?
Oh, yeah.
So
that's
height
that's,
of laziness.
I could have skipped backwards. From Peggy's
Ridiculous.
to your
I'm
house.
embarrassed for myself. Interact with us and each other on YouTube. You can email Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It is all powered by the Cellular Advantage, proud partner of U.S. Cellular since 1993 with 35 regional locations. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by 𝗀cie Heating and Cooling.
𝗀cie Heating and Cooling, dedicated to providing heating and cooling solutions to Des Moines metro families for nearly 120 years. We're at 119. The Buzz, let's start with the Bill Belichick interview. Maybe you haven't seen this yet, Andy.
I saw the headline that said awkward interview.
Oh, awkward doesn't even it's uncomfortable to watch. Now, we can't play the whole interview here. We might be able to. Hey, do you have any of the audio? Can we play any of the audio?
Yep, we do.
All right, let's hear a little bit of the interview from CBS Sunday Morning.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
She's running the show. I mean, CBS has said they did include that one interruption where she shut him down and said, we're not talking about this, shut down the interviewer, basically. They said they included one because it happened several times during the interview.
They should have included it. Yeah,
they
were right to
they
do
need
that.
to. They need the context. And it's just uncomfortable. They're, 50 years apart. She's 24, so she's my son Cade's age. He's 73. This is a man, Bill Belichick, who basically pushed a 6-time Super Bowl winner out the door because he just didn't want Tom Brady to get more credit or more power. Robert Kraft didn't want Tom Brady to grow. Bill Belichick did. This is a guy that nobody can tell him what to do. Nobody has ever been able to tell him what to do. And she's telling him what to do. It almost makes you wonder.
Sort of surprising, but not shocking. She's got something that the others didn't.
Yes, she does. But do you think?
Wait, you don't think it's the first time that men have been pushed into poor choices or questionable choices?
No, I've got
by their interest in a woman.
I got my own skeletons, but it seems like we almost have a hostage situation here, puppet master situation, or is he slipping a little and she's in control? I can't picture Bill Belichick. She wanders around the practice field telling assistant coaches what to do. What?
Well, I mean, that's a huge red flag. You know, I mean, they had to do a lot to get Bill Belichick to take this job, but I mean, if things go wrong, she's going to be the lightning rod if she's not already. So I don't know. I mean, this is, first of all, who made the wardrobe choice?
Well,
why didn't he wear his nice sweatshirt?
I think that this was it's a good question. And I think what some people miss is Bill Belichick. First of all, they're promoting a book. It's the only reason he did this interview. And the biggest influence on his life was his dad, who coached at Navy. And his dad is apparently a big part of the book. And I would guess that's maybe one of his dad's old sweatshirts. It certainly isn't a new Navy sweatshirt. It's got a big hole right above the nipple.
Although they probably do sell worn sweatshirts like that are
Purposely
intentionally
worn.
weathered, just like they do jeans and stuff. But I mean, my dad was a big influence on my life, but I'm not sitting in here in one of his V-neck undershirts, and I'm not going to. But
it's blink, Bill. Blink if you need help. Yeah. Also, this weekend, and you missed some of this. Andy was in Mexico on vacation. Excuse me. But the Shedeur-Sanders slide did help lift the entire draft. Draft ratings were up 40% on the next 2 days because it was fascinating to watch this. Whatever side you're on it, rooting for him, feeling bad, feeling good, enjoying it, schadenfreude, whatever you had, it was hard to turn away from this. And Mel Kiper was also contributing to that because he was getting increasingly angry, steam coming out of his ears. And finally, the team many thought would take Shedeur-Sanders in the first round or the beginning of the second round does take him in the 5th round with pick 144. And it seems like everybody had a take on this, including me. How much were you aware that the slide was continuing all weekend?
Very aware, because people were talking about it, and you'd see the little updates on your phone, and it was the most interesting part of this draft. I mean, certainly after,
no doubt,
after the trade between the Jags and the Browns, I think this was the most interesting part of the draft. And then it just got more and more interesting because you kept wondering just how far he would drop. And, it was a big surprise when Cleveland picked him, even though people thought they were going to start the second round by picking him. But they had picked Dillon Gabriel already. They already got a quarterback, and they already have 2 others in their quarterback room, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. And you're like, what? So the Browns fans, I mean, I think they walk away from this draft thinking that somebody is still asleep at the wheel.
It's
because how does this make things better?
Well, somebody's going to emerge from that because Deshaun Watson apparently won't play this season.
Yeah, you mentioned him. Yeah, right. I mean, he's still there.
So you got 4 guys in a quarterback room. We're all praying Hard Knocks, please come in and find a way to do the Cleveland Browns, because this quarterback room will be fascinating. But I think this is one of these case studies where more than one thing can be true here. It's becoming more clear that Shedeur-Sanders did not have a first-round evaluation from most scouts. So he falls out of the first round, even though he was the favorite to be the overall number 1 just a year ago. On this date a year ago, he was the overwhelming favorite to be number 1. But his grade for holding on to the football too long, for not being real mobile, for various reasons, he falls out of the first round.
His interviews were a huge factor in that.
Yep. And maybe he purposely was tanking some of the interviews. That's a mistake. There's only 6 or 7 teams at most that need a starting quarterback. Right. And this is a guy who clearly, with his dad and the headache that's coming with his dad and with Shedeur and his confidence, cockiness, you have a guy, the expectation is starting quarterback. So then this is where it gets a little more nuanced. Once he slides out of that first round, and even especially when the second round is done, well, now you have to ask yourself, do you want to bring the circus to town for a guy that you're basically drafting with the expectation he's going to be a backup for a while? Now, Cleveland, you can make the argument he will end up getting a chance to eventually start there pretty quickly. But the other teams, just like they didn't want the circus with Tebow as a backup or Colin Kaepernick as a backup, they don't want a backup quarterback that's getting all the questions directed at the other players. They don't want somebody who has no interest in being a backup quarterback. You remember when the Patriots cut Cam Newton because he was a backup and they knew he didn't want that role. So all of that goes into play. The one thing, and this has been a narrative that we should mention, there's been a lot of discussion that, well, the NFL just has a problem with a confident black man. The NFL has a bad history with black quarterbacks. We know that, a shameful history, and there was racism for a long time. But that's not what's going on now. That's not what this is. I mean, Cam Ward was the #1 pick. 29 of 32 players in the first round were black. 80% of the first 2 rounds were black players. They'll put anybody in at quarterback if they think you can win at this point. So I don't think it's that. I think it's just all the headaches that potentially are coming with Shedeur Sanders and the message he sent to teams like, it's me, not we. And that's not what you want from your quarterback. This isn't a punt returner. This isn't a kick returner like his dad or a cornerback. This is the quarterback. This is the leader. And he kind of is me before we, at least outwardly.
I think it's all, I think that's 100% of what it was. I don't think it's the questions about his skill, especially when you get out of the first round. I mean, it's just a value pick at that point. You got a guy that, that clearly has greater skills than the other quarterbacks that are remaining in the draft, and they're still passing on him and taking other players. But he becomes a bigger problem at the quarterback position the farther he drops, because there is no way that the Browns are going to have enough reps in practice for all of the quarterbacks that they have in there. And then Deshaun Watson will still be a story there.
Yeah.
He will still be sucking up a big portion of their payroll.
And he's coming back at some point.
I mean, even if you think that, Shedeur Sanders, they could develop him into something that is valuable or looks valuable to other teams, and they maybe potentially trade for him. How are you going to get him enough reps for other teams to see that value in him? I mean, he can't just sit there and appreciate. He has to do something and appreciate, and you don't have enough footballs to do that. And Joe Flacco is old, but still was productive when they brought him in. Kenny Pickett has certainly faded a lot, but Dylan Gabriel, you just took him. You just took him, and he was really good and has a lot of experience. So, I mean, you want to give that guy every chance, but even he's behind a log jam. So I don't know. And Shedeur Sanders doesn't seem to me as a type of player that they could move to another position. Does he, to you? I mean, certainly his dad,
no.
You could, but no, I mean, I don't see them saying, well, we just took him as an athlete. We'll move him to receiver or cornerback. His dad was, good at both of those positions. I don't see that with him. So I don't know what the Browns are doing.
And he's skilled enough to play quarterback. There's just so many questions about his leadership, and even it's confidence, but it's also arrogance and cockiness that crosses over. Like you can, there's some video out there of he and Cam Ward working out together, and all Shedeur's questions are about, a rap and a video, and Cam Ward's just like, I play quarterback. I play football. That's what I want to do. And that is what these teams want from their quarterback. They want more Jalen Hurts mindset, not Johnny Manziel mindset. They want somebody who they're obsessed with being a quarterback. Remember the Kyler Murray concerns? They tried to write into his contract that he would study the playbook and would stop playing video games all the time.
Do more, but I don't know. I mean, it's the NFL draft. I mean, they get so deep inside guys' heads, and it's a whole bunch of different people all making speculations about a whole bunch of other different people, and nobody really knows. And it always kind of entertains me that that Mel Kiper gets so angry. I mean,
he had a temper tantrum.
He'll get offended that teams aren't doing what he thinks that they should do, or that they're not. I don't know. I will never understand this. Remember when just melting down on the Colts or a number of other teams in the years?
Sure.
It's just like, this is why they are always picking in the top 10 of the first round every year, because they make picks like this and miss picks like this. Well, he didn't know either.
No, he didn't know.
These guys miss on so many of these picks. They just are throwing darts in the dark.
He said Jamarcus Russell would be good. That didn't work. He most famously said, if Jimmy Clausen is not a successful NFL quarterback, I'll retire. He didn't retire, and Clausen certainly wasn't successful. And Mel Kiper at one point, when he's having this temper tantrum, that even made Reese Davis lose his patience, which that doesn't even seem possible. But Kiper's got the steam coming out of his ears. You say, for 50 years, these NFL teams have had no idea what they're doing with quarterbacks, just forgetting all of the busts and misses that he had. But I've seen people calling for Mel Kiper to be fired because they thought it was such an unprofessional 3 days that he had with his Shedeur Sanders obsession. No way they're going to fire him. He helped drive the ratings up. The whole point is to be a memorable personality. This is how Stephen A. Smith keeps making more money and being put on more shows. May annoy you, but here we are talking about Mel Kiper because it was good theater. They're not firing Mel Kiper. They're probably promoting him and signing him to an extension.
No, I mean, he was the first of his kind. He really invented a job for himself, and he's had an amazing career, and he has spawned a whole bunch of guys that just kind of followed in his footsteps and probably started out just wanting to be him. And until he can't do it anymore, the ESPN really invented draft coverage, and they invented Mel Kiper, and he invented himself. I mean, you can't separate the two, really. I mean, they're two of the biggest reasons why the NFL draft is what it is today.
Jay Ubrich is the son of Atlanta's defensive coordinator, and he was responsible for a prank phone call to Shedeur Sanders. Now, some context is needed here in that many players were pranked. It's not just Shedeur Sanders. And if you were watching Two Guys this morning with Chris and Chris Hassel replayed a conversation he had with Cooper DeJean, where Cooper DeJean said he got multiple pranks to the point last year that when the Eagles actually called him, he didn't answer the phone because he had been pranked so many times. So it's not just Shedeur Sanders, but Jay Ubrich has issued an apology for what he did. And Andy, I'm going to read this apology just because this is a real apology. On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. That's a good apology.
That's like a Roman Catholic apology.
Yes,
that's everything but flogging yourself with a cat of nine tails. I mean,
it certainly seems sincere, and it doesn't look like it's written by an attorney or a PR firm. It looks like a 21-year-old kid.
Like somebody held hostage or something, yeah.
I have the mindset of where I am now in life, and then I remember the high school kid who did prank phone calls back when there was no caller ID or anything, and it was mean, it was stupid, and I thought it was so funny to the point where I used to listen to Crank Yankers and laugh, or the Stern Show.
Oh, well, Crank Yankers was so funny.
Prank phone calls are funny. Now, this wasn't really funny. They didn't do a good job of pranking Shedeur or anybody. It'll make you uncomfortable to listen to it, but this isn't the end of the world, but the NFL has to figure out a way to not have this happen again.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everybody is watching him at the time, and the whole world, like the whole football world is watching him. This is the call that he's waiting for.
Jeez.
And then somebody uses that as an opportunity to prank him. And it probably really hit home with him. I would assume he really bought into it, but. And so it did seem like for a while he was the only one that this has ever happened to.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, geez, the guy is having just the worst possible day, or the string of days, and then this happens. That's punching down to the worst degree.
Quickie Poll from 𝗀cie Pools and Spa in Ames and Urbandale. Which was most uncomfortable to watch? The Shedeur slide, the meltdown, it's Mel Kiper, the prank phone call, or the Belichick interview? Which was most uncomfortable? I'm going Belichick interview.
I think I am too. I never like it when we pick the same things because then we can't crosstalk. But I haven't even. I've watched. What did you give me? 5 seconds there, 10 seconds of that Belichick interview.
Yeah,
and I already know I don't want to watch the rest of it because it made me so uncomfortable.
It reaches a point where you're like, oh gosh. Yeah, I'm going with that. Aiden, what are you picking?
I'm going with the prank call. It was
you listened to the whole thing?
For me. Yeah. Because part of me was like, I kind of want to listen to it. And then I listened to it and I was like, oh. Yeah. Because it wasn't, I don't know. Like he said in his apology, like that's a big moment for anyone in that stage. I don't care who you are. But yeah, I'm kind of.
I need to watch Kiper's meltdown. I need to see that.
That was all timer. I watched that 3 or 4 times. I need.
Yeah, I mean, again, Reese Davis loses his patience.
Yeah.
And but it's good TV. I mean, it's good TV, and they're mixing it up, and that's pretty good. Aiden, do we have Brooks with us yet?
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, yeah, let's go to Brooks Reynolds, and we'll come back with Cyhawk draft picks, the spring game at Iowa, the Bananas setting another record. But right now, our good friend Brooks Reynolds joins us here. He is the man responsible for us singing The Love Boat for part of the day. Hi, Brooks.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Is that what are you sitting in a chair there? Can you scoot it a little closer to the mic?
I'm at
the microphone
house.
looks like
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's a lot shorter than I am, so I'm just not used to this. You know,
I recognize the books behind. I was like, God,
Yeah.
Brooks has the same books that Scott has.
I mean,
I'm
he had
so
such-
glad that you didn't set up your house to look like Scott's house.
Oh, I had my house set up. I put up my Bacon Boat life preserver. I had my Van Halen 1984 frame poster from Margot Nahas. I had my lobster golf bag. I was all ready for you.
You were
I made a
ready.
Scene. I made a vibe.
Good backdrop.
Your Wi-Fi was a little glitchy, so we wanted to give you a good, clear connection.
I got the Google Fiber. I thought it should be perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lesson
Google?
learned.
We have learned it takes a little tweaking.
Yeah, it
I've
does.
learned that through some bad shows.
Brooks Baconfest coming
Yes,
up
sir.
Saturday, and we're complete fans. Jenny and I, we love it. Andy usually hosts, but as much of our family that can go now goes every year to Baconfest because we have so much fun, and it's just fun to go with friends and family to this deal. And this year, the theme is clearly Bacon Boat.
Yeah, we kind of mix the theme up every year. Otherwise, it's the same event year after year. So we started themes the third year, and we've had a yacht rock theme kind of on our whiteboard for a while, and just thought it was time. And we brought in a great band from Southern California, 𝗀cie by Nature.
Such a good name.
A lot of fun. We've got some local acts, The Sheet, The Unfortunate Son, and then Tony Bonenkamp will be in the Iowa Lottery Piano Lounge, laying down some smooth tunes.
Is it Tony singing the Bacon Boat song at the beginning of the show?
No, that's actually from 𝗀cie by Nature.
Really?
Yeah, I reached out to Captain Carl. He's great. I met him at Wild Rose Casino a couple years ago for a party, and I was like, "Hey, could you make this?" He's like, and I guess I wrote the song or something like that. We kind of tweaked it a little. It was a collaboration. Just kind of did it. Took the Love Boat theme and got weird with it.
Yeah, I mean, got weird. You did get weird. I mean, that guy really does make Bacon sound kind of dirty.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the erotic qualities of Bacon. I hadn't thought about that before, but
no,
that song gives
frontier.
legs to that. Yeah, I will say for years we didn't have a term to describe that genre of music, that late 70s, early 80s soft rock. I mean, that's basically how you had to describe it before somebody coined the term yacht rock. And a lot of those artists, they don't appreciate being lumped into that genre, but I love it. I like, first of all, I like a lot of that music. I like playing it. It's nostalgic. It does annoy some people, but at the same time, I'm just like, that's perfect. Because you're listening to it when you're in your 50s or 60s and you have enough money to have a yacht.
Yeah, which I know.
And you've got FU money where you're just like, no, I'm listening to my music on my yacht. You don't like my music, get out, swim.
Get off my yacht.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got just a night full of yacht rock.
Smooth tunes, good food, cold
Brooks, have you
brews.
watched the HBO Max Yacht Rock documentary?
I haven't. I was going to try to get it in, but no, I haven't.
So some of the artists like lean into it and they embrace it, like Michael McDonald, who's on a bunch of yacht rock songs, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, like they lean into it. Steely Dan wants no part of it.
Yeah.
Like the documentary actually ends with an FU from
Donald Fagen. Yeah, he's
Don't they use that in the promotion of the
they do really well. Yeah, he like hangs up on the guy that calls him. And they record the conversation. It's really
he is
funny,
upset with the yacht rock term.
All right, how much bacon are we going to have on Saturday?
Well over a ton of bacon. We'll have over 20,000 slices. We've got some great food vendors. Campbell's Concessions will be there again with their double bacon wrap corn dog. BW Outdoors will be there grilling. I can't remember what they're bringing. Chocolate Storybook's going to have their. Have you had Dubai chocolate yet?
No, but I've had chocolate wrapped bacon and it's better than I thought it would be.
They have a Dubai chocolate covered bacon, which is this new pistachio kind of pastry that they kind of, encase in chocolate and bacon. So that should be pretty good. Who else is going to be there? Justin Brunson is coming in from Colorado of Brunson Meats. He used to have a show on the Cooking Channel, and he's an Iowa boy, but that's going to be a fun addition. We've got Des Moines Bacon Company, Jim Reese, Berkwood Farms, Jake Moores and the boys, and then actually yesterday I was up in Mason City picking up 250 pounds from City Meat Market, New Albin, Iowa, which is the second oldest meat locker in the state. Josh Dreps is coming down. I think this is his 7th or 8th Bacon Fest here. And then you got to wash that down with something. We've got Confluence Beer, Barntown. Obviously, we'll have some High Noon Sun Sips. We'll have some non-alcoholic drinks as well for people who don't imbibe. And yeah, it should be a fun day of all things bacon.
It is. It's always a blast. I really enjoy it. And one of the things we've enjoyed about the promo that we air here on Iowa Everywhere is our friend Gilly is just housing bacon in the bacon eating contest from last year. And his wife is like, oh, Gilly.
We actually have referees now this year because there was some controversy last year. And
that is always the toughest part for me. Ooh. I mean, I do the play-by-play for the bacon eating contest, and all the guys line up and they're famished. The contestants have they haven't eaten in like 24 hours, and they come up thinking that they think they can just house it, right? Just shove it down their gullet and win this contest by pure force. But what they don't realize is that like a bacon eating contest is way more difficult than you would ever believe.
I've lived it on RVTV. Yeah, you hit the wall quickly.
Well, it's kind of crumbly. It dries out your mouth.
It depends on the consistency of the bacon. If it's chewier bacon that's undercooked, it's much easier to chew and swallow. But if it's crispy, then it kind of again dries your mouth out. When Molly Schuyler ate 3 pounds in like 2 minutes and for 15 seconds, whatever that was.
She's a competitive eater, though.
Yeah. She did it, but I mean, these regular guys aren't competitive eaters. They just are big eaters, literally big eaters.
I'm trying to get Ryan Plew to come out of retirement. He's a multi-award winning.
He just won last year. Yeah, he wins. Yeah, all the time.
He's thick. But we're bringing in Marty Lester from Mentor, Iowa. He's actually a high school football referee, and he and his son and a couple other football refs are coming in uniform to make sure that that it is a fair contest.
Well, good, because I usually get blamed for that after no, that was a tie, man. That was a tie. You called it the other guy.
Andy Fales is a cheater.
They get all mad. And the other thing is they get pissed that the bacon isn't cooked to their liking. And I'm like,
it's a bacon eating
I didn't
contest.
cook
Relax.
the bacon. But I mean, you think about it, like everybody takes their bacon their own way, right? I mean, you have the way. Yeah, I want it a little chewy. And some people want it like burned to a crisp. And you get really particular about the way you want your bacon. And if you sit there and you're like, oh, how am I expected to eat this? It's all floppy. I don't want my flaccid bacon. I want firm bacon. And then they're pissed to begin with, and then they try to eat it, and they can't eat it as fast as they want. But I remember Gilly trying that last year, and he was just like, oh, God, he was checked out after like
Yeah.
20
You think we
seconds.
could get Ed Wilson in the bacon eating contest?
I do think we can get Ed in the bacon
I
eating
mean, I
contest.
just like him to sing. I mean, if
He's
you get him to
coming.
He'll sing, yeah.
Oh, he'll
Yeah.
sing.
I mean, he's
He'll
not
sing.
afraid, is he?
Sings anyway.
No.
Yeah.
And if you could get him up there to sing a song, he would do it.
Any
He's
song,
watching
he
right now.
tells me what song he wants to sing. I will tell Captain Carl, and we will make that happen.
Can it be Sinatra or does it have to be
Whatever
Yacht Rock?
you just tell. I will
Okay.
text Edwin and see what's his
Yeah,
go-to.
he'll do
song.
it. Fly
he
me to
could
the
do a
moon. or
Yacht
something
Rock
like
song,
that.
though. He
Yeah,
could
he
do,
could do
like-
a Yacht Rock song.
Yeah,
He's a
he
good singer
definitely
too.
could. Yeah,
So we can make that happen. Brooks, are you still doing the thing where if you buy your tickets ahead of time, you can come in an hour earlier?
Yeah,
Like
there's
at
early
11?
entry. We do have that. That does get you in. It also gets you some, food items that, you'd have to, buy a la carte anyway. Some baked party balls from JR South Pork Ranch. We actually have Five Borough Bakery in Waukee making a bacon Queen Amman.
Best bagels. They make the best bagels.
Have you ever had their Queen Ammans?
No.
It's like this buttery pastry, multi-layered puff. I don't know, but it's delicious. So, they're great. Tony Kim is just a great guy. I met him a year or so ago. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun addition. But yeah, come early. The bacon we've got a bunch. It's gonna it's a 7-hour event, so you gotta pace yourself, hydrate, eat a little, drink a little, kind of go through the motions and have a fun day at all
If you
things.
come
bacon.
in early, you just need to go right to the bacon stands and eat. Don't talk with other people. Just
Right.
eat and hit every stand. And then when you've done all that, then you can go visit
Ag
with
Building,
friends.
State Fairgrounds. It's been a great location for it, I think. How do people get tickets if they still haven't or they still want them ahead of time?
Yeah, tickets are available at blueribbonbaconfestival.com. Got early entry and GA, and their GA is still available. I think we're going to have tables open for a couple more days before we close that out, just because we want to make sure that we have enough space. So I think we've got a couple tables left. But yes, blueribbonbaconfestival.com.
Brooks, always great to see you, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Brooks Reynolds with the Blue Ribbon Baconfest, hosted by Andy, coming up Saturday. If you haven't done it before, I don't think I've ever told anybody to go that regretted it. It's a good time. It's fun.
It's a huge party, and the weather at this point forecast is 72 degrees and sunny.
Nice. And there's room to park out there. It's been a good location for it. All right, back to just a few more quick hot topics here. Cyhawk draft picks, 4 Cyclones, 5 Hawkeyes in the NFL draft. The interesting thing was 3 Cyclones went off the board before any Hawkeyes. I can't imagine that's happened before.
I couldn't think of it. I was really surprised to see that. The Houston Texans seem to like the Cyclones this year.
They have 3 Cyclone receivers now.
Which I mean, good for them. Good for Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. That's great. I just feel like we'll never see him again.
Because they're with the Texans?
Yeah. Nobody talks about the Texans. Maybe they'll be great someday, and we will, but I just kind of forget about them.
Yeah, Jalen Travis, really nice young man, and went from Princeton to Iowa State. He's a building. He's like 6'8", 340. He goes to the Colts, and they're really excited to have him. First Hawkeye drafted. He comfortable in the uniform, I'm sure. Caleb Johnson goes to the Steelers. That just seems like a good fit.
Yep.
And
always seem to do well with running backs. They've got somebody. They've got like a running back assembly line. It seems like there.
Y.A. Black also goes to the Steelers. And then the 7th round, the final round of the draft, there a bunch of Hawkeyes went. And Luke Lachey, falling all the way down to the 7th round. He's somebody a couple of years ago, I think with tight end you would predict that Lachey would be, first 2 rounds, first 3 rounds anyway. But he had an injury and he had a college career of mostly bad quarterbacking.
You get a Hawkeye tight end in the 7th round, you did pretty well.
Yeah.
That's a value pick there. And of course, he
Texans.
also went to the Texans. We won't
Texans,
see him.
yeah.
We'll never see
3
him.
Cyclone receivers and a Hawkeye tight end.
They're
with
all
the
gone.
Texans. Yeah, it's something. The Iowa spring scrimmage. It's not really a spring game anymore. Iowa State didn't have one this year. Iowa did. And I think Hawkeye fans like what they saw. Andy, you saw the beach on this day, but for those who went to this, it's courtesy of Blake Hornstein with Hawkeye headquarters. And there's the expected QB1. That's Mark Gronowski. He's recovering from shoulder surgery. He was not in uniform. But the thing they emphasized kind of in this scrimmage was downfield passing, vertical passing. They pushed the ball down the field quite a bit, and Kirk Ferentz seemed to feel like good things were coming in year 2 of Tim Lester's offense. And that is something that we need to give plenty of credit to, because fans called for a change at offensive coordinator for a long time. It happened, and it did get better right away and should be even better this year.
Look at all this good weather.
Yeah,
we had.
yeah, it was good. And
a lot of these events are just. Did Drake Relays have good weather the whole way through?
Yes, all the storms that happened in the middle of the night. So they actually had a good week, and Ed did a good job, and the other meteorologist of showing that the storm had slowed down so much that like Thursday night it wasn't going to get here until midnight instead of like 7 or 8 p.m. as was originally expected. So the distance carnival went well. Then Friday was decent weather, kind of overcast. Saturday was beautiful, and then Peggy's was just a blackout. So, but that's for a different
I
reason.
happen to miss that one. Jeez.
Andy,
Maybe
the
I'm
Bananas. What is the ceiling for the Savannah Bananas? I'm starting to wonder. This is baseball, which many people, especially young people, find kind of boring to watch. Filled Clemson Stadium, 80,000 people to watch the Bananas play a baseball game on this football field. Like, look how far away you are from the stadium. It's incredible what they've done, and other people should pay attention because they figured something out.
You know, we've seen over the years so many times people have tried to invent a sport, a game, a variation of an existing sport. They try this stuff all the time, and it never works. You know, it'll get a little bit of a bounce for a little while, but it's almost like it reminds me of, remember the movie Castaway, and the hardest thing for Tom Hanks to do wasn't to get out and, you know, to be rescued out at sea. It was like to get over just that first line of surf that hits the coral reef barrier around his island. That's the hardest thing. He has to have the sail go up at just the right time and get up over that first swell. That's sort of what it's like for these invented sports or invented sports variations or leagues. It's like there's that first swell,
right?
You know, that they'll get some momentum, you know, in their first couple of days, games, maybe
XFL,
even
UFL.
season. Yeah, all those. They'll get a little momentum, but it's not enough to carry them over that first swell where fans have, the newness is worn off, fans are distracted by something else. You know, the promotional pitch has lost its steam. Those things, it's not enough for the league doesn't have enough momentum to just carry itself forward out into the open sea. And somehow the Savannah Bananas did. Whatever they did, it got them over that swell. And I don't know that, I'm sure everybody else is trying to copy this. It's going to be harder than you think.
Yeah.
But they were able to do that, and now it has become the thing to do, right?
It's a must-see at this point.
It's a must-see.
Yeah.
Yeah, people recognize their merchandise. Cities make a big deal out of the announcement, you know, that the Bananas are coming there, so that, you know, it becomes a news story, a local news story, and they sell out. So now they're cruising.
LeBron versus Anthony Edwards was really compelling. Anthony Edwards is really annoying LeBron, and it's kind of fun to watch because he's not intimidated, doesn't back down at all. And he's just kind of poking at LeBron, and LeBron is often looking over to the officials for some help. And suddenly the Lakers look old.
Yeah.
And they did. They're down 3-1. It's not over yet, but LeBron scored 0 points in the fourth quarter and
3-1
looked
is
tired.
tough.
Yeah, and AntMan scored 43, and I hope he celebrated responsibly, Andy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he got 43 and then got some post-game action. Yeah, jeez, that guy.
And now
Wrap it up.
here's Archie Bunker with a PSA on how to solve hijacking.
Now I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers. Which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
You could?
All you got to do is arm all your passengers. You know what the passengers are? And then he ain't got no more superiority there. And he ain't going to dare to pull out no rod. And then your airlines, then they wouldn't have to search the passengers on the ground no more. They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end. Case closed.
Pass out the pistols at the gate.
Yeah, well, there are people that do honestly believe that would work.
That would be the way to do it. Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. You heard Brooks Reynolds mention they'll have the Confluence at Baconfest coming up this weekend, this Saturday. Andy is the MC there. It'll be a good time. Please
Flowing on
come
tap.
out and support, Confluence and Baconfest and everything else. But for now, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Either Or Eatery and Patio, I imagine, had a good weekend. If the Drake Relays had nice weather, I imagine it was nice weather there too. They're at 6222 Grand Avenue on the edge of Des Moines and West Des Moines. You want to check them out this week if you haven't done that. If there are already a favorite restaurant of yours, as there are so many here in the Des Moines Metro, then nothing like a repeat visit. A Brinks armored truck traveling on South Austin Boulevard in Oak Park, Illinois, had an unexpected problem when its back door opened, causing 3 bags of cash to fall out onto the roadway.
Oh, no.
That did get noticed, by the way, by people. Anytime you see a Brinks armored truck, you notice, right? You look at it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating.
You wonder how much money is in there.
Where do the guns come out? Which of those holes?
Yeah.
Just you wonder about how armored it really is. Apparently, the door locks are still a little bit suspect, but witnesses reported that between 50 and 100 individuals seized the opportunity, collecting the scattered money and fleeing the scene on foot and in vehicles. Wow. That is a quick reaction. The estimated total amount taken was approximately $300,000. And the answer to your next question is yes. It is a crime to pick that stuff up and run away with it. It's not yours just because it fell out of the Brinks truck. You're not allowed to do that. You can't say, I was cleaning up litter. That doesn't count.
This happens from time to time when somebody is expecting like a check of $100. Instead, they get a check for $100,000. You can't. It's not your money.
The ATM spits out $100 bills instead of 20s or something like that.
Yeah.
You do.
But you do feel like,
it.
well, I didn't do anything wrong.
Just cleaning up the roadside. I mean, it's littering. The guys just, are throwing this stuff out there. I thought they did it intentionally. I thought they didn't want these bags. Skepticism is at an all-time high for Americans when it comes to the internet. New research suggests it finds that the average person only believes 41% of what they see online is totally accurate.
11% if it's a photo of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. Overall, 75% of Americans say they trust the internet less today than ever before. Now, this all sounds very believable to me, but then again, the More team did find this article online.
Yeah. Maybe it's fake.
Maybe this is not true. I mean, how much skepticism? I don't know. I mean, there's certain stuff that you don't really care how true it is. There's other stuff that you really want to be true that you read, but you don't just believe it. You have to go looking for extra sources.
Yeah, like
and even
beer is
then,
good
you're not
for
sure.
you.
Yeah, right.
I like this story.
On this day in 1956, the sports world is shocked by the news that Rocky Marciano has retired. He is a perfect 49-0. He has knocked out a stunning 43 of those opponents. And he's only 32 years old at the time. Wow. And yet, he never, ever fights again. He did consider one more fight a few years later, but after training for just a month, he decides he doesn't have it in him and decides to stay retired.
That's rare.
Consider what that has done for his legend. The fact that you never saw, or no one, I mean, we didn't see, it was too long ago, but America never saw Rocky Marciano as an over-the-hill has-been, as we do almost every other great boxer. Right. I mean, I really can't think of a great boxer off the top of my head that didn't have a number of fights after he was well past his prime. But no one ever saw that from Rocky Marciano. He was basically Barry Sanders, Jim Brown.
Yeah.
A guy that just said, I've had enough. I don't have it in me anymore. And he stepped away at age only 32.
And then died young.
Speaking of that, on August 31st, 1969, the day before his 46th birthday, Rocky Marciano is flying from Chicago to Des Moines in a small plane for a function. So there had been bad weather the night before, and the pilot was very inexperienced. He hit a tree near the runway of a small airfield near Newton, and everyone in the plane was killed. The pilot, Rocky Marciano, and Marciano's friend, Frankie Farrell. Frankie's younger brother is, of course, devastated by the news, and his name is Willie Farrell, our good friend, and bearer of some of the most entertaining and nearly unbelievable stories of his family and of Rocky Marciano. And if Willie is telling one of those stories, pull up a chair and don't leave until he's done.
Oh, it's just incredible. And I saw like a really exclusive T-shirt place that I normally would not buy something because the T-shirts are so expensive. But I saw a Rocky Marciano shirt that was really cool. And I got it for Willie because just of the amount of stories he's told me about, you know, his dad and his brother with Rocky Marciano. And it's just fascinating to me. And I haven't been to the crash site there, but isn't there some kind of marker where Marciano and Willie's brother and the pilot died?
Yeah, I believe so. And they've had some ceremony out there on certain commemorative dates. It's so funny to me because, you know, you'll hear Willie's act. You know, he's talking about the mafia and, you know, growing up at the Catholic school and that kind of stuff. And you're like, he's making this stuff up, right? Willie is doing this for effect. It's for comedic effect. And then you hear stuff like this, and you can go to Wikipedia and literally read about Willie's dad and his connections, and you're like, oh, he's not making this up. If anything, he might be pulling some punches.
Yes.
To protect his own family a little bit. But Willie is like legit. I mean, his stories. I mean, he's Henry Hill in some of these. He's like an insider to this stuff.
Yeah, Ed Wilson and Willie Farrell and our wives, we went to the Mob Museum, which is in Las Vegas, and Willie's dad is like the entry for the state of Iowa as like the guy in the Mob Museum.
Yeah. You read the people that you hear the names that Willie comes up with during his comedy acts.
It's kind of like you and your childhood.
Yeah, but I mean, like his names, you know, Frankie Four Eyes and, you know, Louis the Lips, and
Yeah.
it just sounds like he's making them up.
He's not.
He might not be. He probably should be, but I mean, he's not. You're like, what? It kind of blows your mind because you're so used to exaggeration being such a big part of comedy. But
Right.
with Willie, you're really not sure if he's exaggerating or if he's just like reading right out of a family journal. A study published in Frontiers in Conservation looked at shark encounters in French Polynesia from 2009 to 2023. It found that about 5% of the 74 recorded shark attacks, bites on humans, were defensive, happening when sharks felt threatened by people trying to touch or ride them. They say that many of these bites are not unprovoked attacks, but reactions to being poked or grabbed by tourists and influencers seeking shark selfies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, file that under FAFO.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you deserved it. I can't. This is something that I don't believe actually happened on the internet. I mean, this is a great white shark, and this guy is about to be eaten. I don't think this has got to be a fake picture, but
how would we know?
How would you know?
It looks like Jeremy Piven in a bad movie about sharks.
This guy is so almost dead right here. That's a great white. I can't think of anything that would terrify me more than swimming in open water with big sharks.
Look at those teeth.
That's a great white. That's Jaws. That's going to eat this guy's shoulder in a half a second. He's gone. But these people are. That's a great white shark. I mean, they're probably trying to pet blue sharks, smaller ones. They still could totally tear your arm off. We'll end with this. A kindergarten teacher is going viral for sharing the top thing that parents should teach their kids to prepare them for kindergarten. And it's as simple as this, according to Emily Perkins. Tell your kid no. Explaining that kids need to understand that no can be a complete sentence and does not invite kids to argue back.
Negotiate. Kids negotiate if they don't have boundaries.
If kids can't understand no, this teacher said, they are basically unteachable. That's a good point.
I can see that.
If a kid can't say no or can't take no from adult authority figures in their life, they're in trouble. That's your more, everybody.
All right. It is time now for Throwdowns. Aiden in for AD.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Aiden.
Oh, sorry.
Don't make me tell you no.
Yeah. Heartland Tire and Auto Center is bringing us today's Throwdowns. What do you have for us, Aiden?
All right, Drake Relays had a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, how about that?
Bright blue.
Is that from this weekend?
Skies. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
How about that? Like the sky matches the oval.
Blue skies over the blue oval. Doesn't happen very often.
All right, what event? Let's start with you, Murph. What event would embarrass you the least to compete in?
Well, at my age now, I'm not sure, but in my whole life, it would be high jumping. That was my strongest track and field event. I would guess that I would be shocked at my lack of ups right now, but I haven't tried to clear a bar in a long time. But that I could at least do the form.
There is not a single event that I could even complete, probably including the 100-yard or 100-meter dash.
You could run 100 yards.
I could. It wouldn't be pretty. I would pull a hammy and go down hard. I honestly, but I would be embarrassed by it because I would be so slow. I think, honestly, and I'm okay with this right now in saying that my days of running are over. That sounds really deep and sad, but I'm okay with it. My days of running are over.
It came up several times this past weekend, including Mark Freund bringing it up to me. But because I was at Peggy's, a number of people recalled with real affection the night you walked from Peggy's back to Urbandale and recorded
back to West
along
Des Moines.
the way. Back to West Des Moines.
Yeah.
And you start by saying something along the lines of, oh, the Google Maps says it's going to take me 2 hours and 10 minutes, but I think I can beat that by a good hour or so. And then you start your journey, and at some point it's like, roller dog and chip sounds good about now. And you go in and you get something to eat, and it ends up taking you more than 2 hours to get home. But it was
It
entertaining.
would like two. Yeah. It did. It took so long. It was
Left an
a
impression.
long walk. Yeah. That's probably what led you to get an Uber.
Yes.
Just to your house, which is basically down the street.
Hearing that story from 3 different people.
All right, Andy, if you were in the NFL draft, would you rather be a late round pick or be an undrafted free agent where you can kind of choose where you can go?
I understand that, being a free agent and having that sort of power over your situation would be, there would be some advantages to that. We're looking at, the best case scenario that's basically ever happened in Kurt Warner here, but I would still want to hear my name called. I think that's, something that a football player, that's truly one of your most basic dreams when you're in the sport.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I would rather be picked. I understand the thinking of free agent gets to pick the best situation, but I also think there's still a human element to this in that the general manager and that room of coaches and assistants, they want to be right about the people they picked. So I think benefit of the doubt always goes to the draft picks over the free agents because they want to be proven right.
Lastly, sticking with the theme of bacon here, Murph, what is your favorite use of bacon outside of the obvious just eating it by itself?
Ooh, on a burger. Just put, I had one this weekend. Bacon on a hamburger is good. BLT, pretty dang good too.
Yeah, it's the BLT for me all the way. And there's really like a limited time of the year that you can have a great BLT. It's when the really good garden grown tomatoes are ripe. And then I just put so much work into it. Oh man, I marinate the tomatoes and I make like a special mayonnaise with basil in it. And oh, God, I can't wait for those days. Yeah, making me hungry.
See, I like it when you save the bacon grease and put it on like green beans, put little bacon bits in there.
Jeez, I didn't know you were crazy. You take bacon grease, drain it off, and just pour it all over your vegetables?
Yeah.
I would there's a line in that Baconfest song where he's talking about bacon love, and I was wondering like how you would illustrate that. I would imagine that would be like using bacon grease as a body lubricant and just putting it all over each other and slipping around. Is that it? I mean, what else is bacon love? What else would that be? And it's not just love of bacon. No, this guy is way too into that song.
Yeah, he's
talking about just eating bacon.
He's so excited about the bacon.
He's like the guy in the 𝗀𝗃𝗃 brothers ad looking out the window at his yard.
Yeah. We do have some of the best ads. I mean, they are memorable. Like the concert this weekend, people were sending us the video of Shinedown's It's About to Get Heavy. Which
Yeah, shit's about to get heavy.
Yeah, it's the song Devil. That's the name of the song. So don't look for It's About to Get Heavy if you're trying to find it on your Spotify playlist. Grimaldi's fan photos can be sent to us at Murph_IoEverywhere.com and send those in. Then on Friday, we pick a winner. $50 gift card to Grimaldi's. You can go to the Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria in West Des Moines or the District at Prairie Trail in Ankeny for some delicious pizza. So we need some more fan photos. Send those in. We'll pick a winner on Friday and someone will head out to Grimaldi's. Time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We hope AD makes it back from Mississippi here at some point. We expect him by Wednesday. We appreciate Aiden filling in. We call this the AD Squared. It's presented by Game Day Men's Health, science-based treatments to help you reclaim your passion and your purpose. Aiden, what do you have?
This is courtesy of the man of the hour, Andrew Downs. He sent this as a reminder. If your team didn't pick who you wanted, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world.
Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen.
Vikings went with Justin Jefferson. I am kind of unhappy with that.
The Houston Texans select J.J. Watt.
I hate it.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Jalen Hurts, quarterback.
That has to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Patrick Mahomes, the second.
Really? This is why this organization will never win a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
That is perfect.
That's fantastic.
That has to be played every single year.
I hadn't seen that. It's great.
I'm sure it could go on and on and on with just about every play. Right. I mean, these fans,
everybody,
don't know. The analysts, the fans, the scouts, the GMs, the coaches, they don't have a crystal ball.
That's great. That's a good 80 squared. Quickie Poll results are presented by 𝗀CI Pools and Spas.
Love this poll. Which was the most uncomfortable to watch? The leader right now is the Belichick interview, 37%. But at 34%, the Mel Kiper Jr. meltdown.
So you're going to go check that out. This makes you intrigued.
Yeah, it does. 20% will say it's the prank call to Shedeur Sanders. And then only 9% will go with the Shedeur slide. Although, the repeated shots of him were uncomfortable.
But this does show you that I think the majority of people enjoyed the slide. They felt like the man needed to be humbled.
Yes. They think that this guy needed to be humbled, and maybe that happened to him. I don't know. Can't predict that either, but maybe that's the good, and that's what the Browns are telling themselves, is this is a really great athlete. He's a potentially really good player. He's been humbled by this experience, and he's therefore a better pick for us right now. Maybe.
Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy. Aiden, thank you for jumping in and helping out here at the last minute for Andrew. We appreciate that. Yeah, that's the heart symbol. Oh, is that a Taylor Swift thing, or is that?
It might be.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for supporting local media here on Iowa Everywhere. Also, a reminder, our friend Addison Boughton asked us to remind everybody that the big Polk County iClub function is coming up Wednesday night. There are still tickets available to that. Josh Ash, among others, will be there. And please like and subscribe here if you're watching on YouTube or whatever platform you're watching. It helps us at Iowa Everywhere. We are back Wednesday. We think AD will be as well, and we hope you join us then.